The Lord reigns. He is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed in majesty and armed with strength. Indeed, the world is established firm and secure. Your throne was established long ago. You are from all eternity. The seas have lifted up, Lord. The seas have lifted up their voice. The seas have lifted up their pounding waves. Mightier than the thunder of the great waters, mightier than the breakers of the sea. The Lord on high is mighty. Your statutes, Lord, stand firm. Holiness adorns your house for endless days. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Visible Lady of Faith channel, which is my wife, that lovely person. This lesson is January the 12th, and the subject is the Lord is majestic. Hi. The very first point I would like to make is in that very first verse. It said, the Lord reigns. He is robbed of his majestics. Majestic is his dignity. The Lord, we just stop and think about it. We always try to humanize, God, but we got to stop and think about, some of the graphics that I decided to use to illustrate that is God's throne, which that is it's an imagery that of man's thinking, but I had the Hubble telescope that I found is just where man is using tools to see what's in outer space. I know some people say the world is flat and all this other kind of things, but there's actually pictures, and if you've been in a jet, an airplane, and travel, you can see the ground and get a view of what the Earth looks like. And some people don't believe that man has been in outer space. They have, and I have not personally myself. But the reason why I believe, because back in the 80s, I was sitting and I was trying to pass data from in California over into Europe, and I was bouncing off of a satellite. And there's no way in the world at that time, there was no technology that was on the ground that could do that. So that's one of the things that convinced me that man has. And then we have satellites and things like that that's up there now, and people say that it's not. But if we were to come in and start tearing up all the technology that circles the earth, and then people would be believers because communication would be shut down. So I can't say I've seen it myself. I've never been to outer space. That's where I'm coming from. But I worked around it enough in my career, because I've been in the computer since 1972. And I've looked at the technology in companies like JPL, TRW, Northrop, and Hughes, all these different aerospace companies, I worked for them, or they were one of my clients. Now, myself, I like to deal with the facts, okay? And one thing about majestic about God is he created, I believe he created the universe. Something created the universe, but man trying to say, oh, no, I didn't. I got this from also on my career as far as God, like I said at that verse, we as human beings, we rob God of his dignity and the awesome that he is. And if you would just take the time to even just stand and when you get out of the city, just look up in the sky and see the stars that's there. The Hubble telescope has been peeking out further and further out in outer space, which man has not figured out how to come up with the technology to see that. So the point I want to make here, stop putting hands and feet on the one that created this universe. We got to think past our own limitations, as human beings. We're constantly doing that. But mainly ones that do that I have found in my experience is that they're trying to get control of us, our spending and our behavior, so they can make themselves more powerful. And that's one of the things. So just stop and think about it. Just look at the stars out there and just imagine, if you can, with the universe, look at the animals that was created. Look at it created us. So that's how awesome God is. And we can't do that. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about, as well, It's another subject that talks about AI. Like I said, I've been in the computers since 1972, so I grew up with computers. I've seen DNSs. I've seen all these other kind of tools. I've seen different, languages like C, like Fortran, like COBOL. The current stuff is like JavaScript and etc. All these different languages. Yes, I understand them. I have written code in those things. But there's also artificial intelligence languages too. And this is the thing that man, if they get us to, what I'm saying, AI, to start buying into that we're afraid of AI. Let me stop and just put it this way. When I was coming up with my children in high school and middle school, haven't you experienced this thing where, oh, I'm sorry, sir, or sorry, ma'am, but the computer is never wrong. This is what it says. Okay? So I can't change your child's class. I can't change this. I can't do this because computer won't let me do that. So instead of blaming somebody, people are going to try to move the intelligence toward a computer that is very intelligent and that you can't argue with a computer. It can be used as an argument, but this is an old saying back in the 80s and everything. You put garbage into an application, garbage is going to come out. And just got to keep this in mind. This is the subject here. Man is using God's creation to prove that God did not create it. Sounds kind of funny, isn't it? Because they're using computers. As a matter of fact, there was an article that one of my children sent it to me and said that one of the wealthy people, I just don't want to mention the names, but if you can look it up, they're going to use artificial intelligence. That's what AI is. Artificial intelligence to debunk the Bible. So out of curiosity, I went out and asked AI, because you can sit at your computers and ask AI, can the Bible debunk the Bible? And it's flat. First thing I say, no. And it's true. Because artificial intelligence, think of it this way, and I will say this real slow. An application is only good as its creator, and its creator is a human being. Okay? It's not like God that can put stars up. We can create computers, faster cars, pretty cars, and things like that. But we cannot create dirt. We cannot create animals. We cannot create people. But we'll put it this way. It's an old thing. It was kind of a joke they said. I can do anything God because, I can put it all together. And that's what man's attitude is with this AI. Because if you go in Google and look at robots, androids, and all this, their athleticism is very close to human. It's getting closer to, even what it looks like on its outer skin. And it can hold a conversation with you. You've seen ads in the paper where AI can sit there and brainstorm with you. Now, if you've seen the movies like, well, I won't name the movies either. And you just stop and think about it, where there was one where it was a couple of them, 3 of them I can think of right now, that the artificial intelligence thought, well, hey, human beings, they're flawless, they make mistakes, and et cetera, and et cetera. So they started exterminating human beings. That's the danger of it. But I'm not worried about that because our Heavenly Father is going to put the computers in check, and computers are not going to be able to do what God's creation, what God can do. And that's what the subject of the lesson says. The Lord is majestic. He's a very dignified. He's very impressive with the things that he has created. So stop putting hands and feet on God and come back and take a look at it and say, okay, what created this dirt? What put this air? What put the planet there? What put the sun there? Those are the things that we need to look at. And as the reading, I read through the scriptures, which each and every one, you can read it. And if you can't, if you can at least understand what I'm saying, as you say, what's the words that are coming out of my mouth, I would like you just take the time, go look at and watch, an ant or something, or watch the stars. So just take the time and see what's moving and just look at the grass, the trees, and the different varieties of plants and everything. Man did not do that. Something created, and I believe God created that. The third point, and speaking of here, the Lord is majestic, and we want to put God and man, and even go so far as in putting Satan in the same sentence. You can't do it because God is over here, and you got to stop and think about it. Satan is, we'll put it this way. People don't want to hear this, but guess what? Satan was created by God. He didn't create evil now, but God created Satan. Now, I'm trying to keep it very, very, very simple because the one thing is that in 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, God, or the message that was in 1 Corinthians 13, it's talked about if you have all the knowledge in heaven, all the knowledge in earth, you're the most intelligent thing in the universe. But if you don't have love, you have nothing. Now, I want to go down this path. Now, us as human beings, that's also I experienced in my career, in computers, in the computer industry. That people, if you notice, everybody's trying to get up and want to be the manager. Why? Because they have power. They can tell people what to do. But does that make them qualified to be your leader? And that's the issue that we see on the planet. Because I will have to speak for myself and my experience. I was always told that I wasn't smart enough to manage people. I wasn't smart enough to get a college education. I wasn't smart enough to teach. And all these different authorities, like, for instance, our teachers in the classroom, they're not going to go if you do not embarrass the teacher because the teacher's supposed to know everything. But there's such thing as incompetent teachers. There's such thing as errors in textbooks. There's such things as that ministers make errors in what they're saying when they're teaching to you. And keep in mind, while I'm pointing to all these different things that's in our as humans, they make mistakes, but God doesn't make any mistakes. If he did, when's the last time the sun didn't show up? The moon didn't show up. It's always the season to keep going. Even in our power today, as far as our spending habits, look at the people that's addicted to social media, addicted to their cell phones, addicted to all this technology. Because if you were to take a cell phone or one of these video games from the kids, they'll have a fit. And I've heard of some cases where the kid got so outraged that they actually killed the parent that took the away from them. So this is ridiculous. We're so dependent on our own, being. So like our leadership of our different countries and everything, it seems like everybody, I'm going to tell you what to do. And the funny thing about it, all these individuals that's going to tell you what to do, they have an expiration date on them, and God does not. So I'm going to put it in simple terms. What I'd like for you to understand, read this Sunday school, Psalms 93 again, but also think of this, keeping it really simple in your life. God is love. Love is what we're talking about, that we should have, of loving one another. Matter of fact, I found a very interesting verse, 1 John 4:7, and I would ask you to read that. And it talks about love again. And this is the awesome thing. Can you imagine if we all supported each other on this planet and loved one another, and we could together get rid of homelessness, hunger, and etc. But we choose to live our, I got mine, you go get yours. That's the kind of attitude we humans we have. So this has been going on. I understand this is what's been going on on the planet. Because one of my pet peeves as the ministers, I always hated as a kid coming up and saying that when Adam and Eve, they went to the tree and ate from the forbidden tree, and they took an apple off the tree, and that's a false narrative. It was not an apple. It's called a tree of knowledge. And knowledge that we have today, people are using the knowledge to manipulate, the mass, majority. And the mass majority, the education level is coming up. But I want to challenge those that that maybe if you can hear this, if you're sitting on social media, I would challenge you. If you want to see some difference in your life, get a relationship with God and go get you an education. Don't just sit there, oh, I don't want to hear nothing about history. I don't want to hear nothing about that. No, think of it as like athletes going into a weight room. You're going to exercise your mind and you're going to look at different people's perspective from different ways. So I want to end this saying this to everyone that's listening. Please stop putting hands and feet on God. Look at God as like love. Look at it as something that awesome that could happen. Having the faith and the hope that we saw, the stories that we saw in the New Testament, where Jesus here is saying, if you have that faith, that the woman that issued blood, her faith, she was healing her medical issue that she had there. You had people that's never seen in their life, and God blessed them with their eyesight. All these different miracles. I'm not saying let's go look for miracles. I'm saying it's the miracles that you can create here by going and getting education, exercising your mind, and thinking for yourself. And I'm going to say it one more time, but it's just a thought this past and ending this. I was told a lot of things. I was told that I couldn't get an college education. I got it. I have 2 degrees. I was told that I wasn't smart enough to do this. I was nominated as a manager, a manager of the year, engineer of the year. It was great. And I'm not being, if I'm coming off air, no, I'm not trying to be here. I'm saying you set your mind and put the work in, you can do whatever in the world God blesses you to do. I taught at Long Beach City College. And, people still say, well, how do you do that? You must be a coach or something. No. It's one thing is that I would have to say, please trust God and build a relationship with God. And the simple thing is, God is love, and He's awesome. So hopefully the pictures that you see that I surround this with, just think about the animals, the universe, creating the earth, and etc. Anyway, like to say this is a beautiful lesson, but just take the time and just slow down and just take a look. So I can go on and on. I got plenty to say, but I'm hoping you can get something out of what I just said. Thank you. And also, too, my lovely wife, she has a book. It's out on Amazon, and I'll put an ad up, at the end to let you know what that book is like and how to go about purchasing it. Have a blessed day.